Good morning guys, I'm Elle. Welcome back to my channel. With everything that is going on in the world right now, two things are the most important. One is making sure that you have a physically healthy home. That's one that's clean and disinfected. And then the other one is having a healthy mind, one that is clean and one that is disinfected. And so today we are going to be working on both of those with a super satisfying spring deep clean with me. And I'm going to be sharing some mental health tips and inspiration along the way, as well as keeping ourselves and our family safe during this COVID-19 pandemic, and some handy tips on things that you need to keep in mind when the seasons are changing. So I really hope that today's video is going to be encouraging and motivating to you, that it's going to get you off the couch today and get you spring cleaning your house. And I also hope that it's providing some information for you on how to keep yourself safe, as well as some tools and tips on how not to get too overwhelmed with everything that's happening right now. So I'm starting with my kitchen today. You can see I started with tidying. I like to clean and disinfect my house in stages. So, especially right now when there's a lot of fear going on about how we keep our families safe, one really key way is to not allow yourself to get overwhelmed and not allow yourself to worry about having to get everything done in one day. It's not possible. This video actually took me 3 days to film and to clean and disinfect my home. So take your time, tell yourself I'm gonna do one day at a time. Take advantage of the fact that many of us are working from home right now. So I started with the kitchen, and what I like to do is my first wave is just tidying up, putting things back where they belong, and doing the dishes. The second wave is going to be more of the sanitizing, where I am cleaning surfaces, I'm scrubbing out stains, that sort of thing. And then the third wave is disinfecting, and it's really important that you are disinfecting after you're cleaning. So you're going to see that I actually do all the disinfecting at the very end of this video. It's important to understand that disinfecting is not the same as cleaning, and you need to disinfect after the area is clean. So I'm just starting with doing some dishes here, and then we're going to move on to the countertops. And you'll see that I'm taking everything out of the countertops. I'm taking advantage of the fact that it is spring and I like to do a good deep spring cleaning. I usually like to do it in the new year, in September, as well as in the spring, do like a really hardcore Who's Your Daddy type clean. And one important thing to do when you're doing that is to take everything off of the counters. I lost my head in the common sense. On my mind, we are too intense. No rest for the one. I get asked in all of my Clean With Me videos what cleaning solution I use, because I often share that I make my own. And so I am going to be sharing my all-purpose cleaner recipe in today's video, and you guys are going to love it because it is super cheap and guaranteed you already have all of the ingredients. It is so inexpensive, it's so effective, it's better than any all-purpose cleaner that I have ever used, any branded, and you can use it on countertops, you can use it on pretty much any surface. I even use it on my stainless steel, so it's really, really effective on cutting grease and dirt, grime, pretty much anything. You guys also had some really interesting information on my video that I had last week, which was my sustainable products that you need to try video. I'll have it linked down below in case you guys missed it. But a lot of you were informing me about some truths on microplastics in the ocean, and so I've done a bunch of research, and because of that I am trying this cloth that I had gotten at Trader Joe's, and I'd kind of forgotten that I had bought it, and it's I believe it's a linen all-purpose cloth, and you can launder it on the sanitary setting, which is really handy, especially with what's going on right now with the coronavirus. And because it is linen, you don't have to worry about any of those ocean microplastics. So I had tried it for the first time in this video. I had been using it as a dishcloth initially, and obviously I won't be using it as a dishcloth anymore. But for the purposes of just kind of general purpose use around the house, I actually loved it as a cleaning cloth. As I mentioned, I got this at Trader Joe's when I was in the States a while ago. However, I have since found ones that seem identical on Amazon, and so I will have them linked down below. I'm going in and cleaning my microwave as part of the deep spring cleaning. Let me know in the comments if you are the same as me. The inside of the microwave is something that I tend to put off because in my mind, I always see it as like a really arduous task, like something that's going to take a long time or require a lot of elbow grease. And then every time I clean it on the inside, I'm like, this really isn't that big of a deal. Why do I put this off in my head so often? And so I just want to encourage you guys that if you're the same and you tend to put off cleaning the inside of your microwave, it's really not that hard. I use the same all-purpose cleaner. That's the DIY recipe that I'm going to be sharing in just a little bit. And all of those, food bits and whatever came off without any issue, hardly any scrubbing. I'm trying to tell my future self, future Elle, listen, clean the inside of your microwave more often. It's not that big of a deal. I also find a helpful tip when you're using, any kind of multi-purpose cleaner is allow the cleaner to do the work for you. So often we, spray the cleaner and we immediately wipe it up. But when you spray the cleaner and allow it even, 10-15 seconds to just sit on the surface, the ingredients in the cleaner can get to work and really loosen up the debris and bacteria that you're then going to be wiping up. And so it does half the job for you if you just give it a little bit of time. And if you're talking about life metaphors, how relevant is that? How often in life do we want to just rush through our lives and we think that we're saving time by moving quickly, when in reality, if we just allow ourselves to slow down and let life work for us, we find that we actually don't have to work as hard. Hello, little Coco, in Ford's shirt. Now he's wearing Ford's hand-me-down shirt. A lot of you also asked on Instagram, girl, how did you get 3 days worth of cleaning done having 3 kids in your house? And so I'm going to be sharing some of those tips in today's video as well. Spring is a really great season in general when you're doing a deep spring cleaning to ask yourself, is there a different way or a better way that I can set up systems in my home? And especially now when so many of us are working from home or even taking a break from work, it's a really great time to ask yourself, is there a better way to do this? Take the time to do things that you don't normally do, like clean out that crumb tray, or ask yourself, is there a better or more efficient way or more just aesthetically pleasing way that I can do something simple like arrange the appliances on my countertop? Sometimes making those little changes make a huge difference to how the space looks and feels, and it's a great way to save money, especially with everything that's going on right now with the economy. It's a great way to kind of revive and refresh your space for spring without spending any money. So here is the moment a lot of you have been waiting for. Here is my DIY recipe for an all-purpose cleaner. I fill just your regular cleaning bottle almost all the way to the top with just water, 1 pump of dish soap, which is the equivalent of about 1/8 of a teaspoon, and then I put about 3 to 5 drops of essential oil. I change up what I use. I love Purify. Sometimes I'll use Serenity, but any kind of citrusy essential oil that you like, or any kind of calming essential oil that you like, it really doesn't matter. The purpose of that is more scent than anything. Now you do need to be careful because I now have Bernie. I adopted a little cat. And so if you guys missed that vlog, make sure to check out my vlog channel. I'll have that video linked down below. But because I've got little Bernie now, I need to be careful about the essential oils that I'm diffusing and using topically on myself as well as my surfaces. So for this batch of all-purpose cleaner, I just did Purify.
I just need to focus on myself.
One thing to spring clean right now is all of your diffusers. So if you're using a high quality essential oil, you shouldn't get too much dirt and debris. I had bought a cheaper essential oil and I'm finding that my diffuser is a lot more gummier and just kind of getting dirtier faster. So it's an easy fix. All you have to do is rinse out the debris and then wipe it clean with a cloth. You can use some mild dish soap to give it a clean. You can see what a difference it makes. And then you also want to take just your dish scrubbing brush and scrub the top. Usually diffusers will have that inner section there, and that just helps prevent water from splashing out. But on almost all diffusers, it is removable. And if you just scrub that down with a dish brush, you can see the difference of how much cleaner it is by the end. And if you think of the fact that the purpose of a diffuser is to diffuse those essential oils, which are chemicals, into the air, they're healthy chemicals, but they are chemicals, it's important to make sure that what you are diffusing is clean. You don't want to be diffusing that gunk and residue into the air and then subsequently into your lungs. A lot of the times we think of these natural products as completely benign, and for the most part they are, but we need to remember that they are super potent and they are still chemicals, and it's important to treat the surfaces that distribute it to our bodies in a disinfecting and clean way.
Take me to your heart. I belong to you.
Man, I love a good scrubbing of the kitchen sink. I really should do it more often because I find it so flipping satisfying. And it's super cheap and easy. All you need is baking soda and a scouring sponge. I like to use a steel wool scouring sponge. It's important to go in the same grain as your stainless steel sink. But again, future L, keep it in the forefront of your mind. This is not something that takes a long time. You're not using harmful chemicals. It's ingredients that you already have around the house. It's deodorizing and cleans incredibly well, and it doesn't take that long. So quit being such a lazy bones and do it more than every few months. That goes for you too. Another great item to tackle when you're spring cleaning is the inside of your fridge. You want to go through and look at the expiration date of sauces and condiments. I always find some scary expiration dates. Funny story, my dad told me that he found a mustard container, I think it was, where the expiry date was like 2016, which means he's moved it around to several apartments while it's been expired, which is hysterical. But I like to kind of go through, clean all the glass or the plastic that's inside the fridge, and rearrange things that have been misplaced and discard things that are expired. through and pruned all the dead leaves or just leaves that weren't doing so well on all of my indoor plants, which helps encourage the growth of the plant themselves. And you can take that as a life metaphor as well. When you are pruning away the parts of yourself that aren't serving you and are holding you back and are actually delaying your growth, and you allow God to come in to prune and feed and care for you, that is when you can grow deeper roots and grow stronger branches and flourish and grow more beautifully than ever before. Area rugs is something that I am really realizing I have been way too consumeristic with. The reality is I have an old dog who has accidents. I've got 3 kids, and I was buying these rugs, that need to be fairly large to, aesthetically fill the area. And I was exchanging them. I was having to exchange them every couple years. And aside from the fact that that's a really high monetary expense, it's also horrible for the environment because those rugs, because they can't really be repurposed, or else I wouldn't be throwing them out, they end up in landfills, which is horrible for the environment. And so I'm really trying to find alternative ways. I know that there's a company called Ruggable, which makes machine washable rugs. If I ever get rugs again, I'm guessing it'll probably be from Ruggable, but those rugs are not cheap. They're like $300 to $500 for, the bigger sizes. So the rug in my front area had definitely seen better days. It was beyond repair at this point. That one was only, I think, $40 or $60 from Walmart, but it's still ending up in a landfill, which just breaks my heart and makes me want to do better in the future. So for now, I'm putting down this jute rug that I had gotten and used under the dining table for a while that I had been storing in the basement. So I will use that as my front rug, hopefully for, a couple years, hopefully for at least a year before it gets, beyond repair itself. Now, this can't be cleaned as far as I know. Please let me know in the comments if this rug can be cleaned. But once this rug has seen its life cycle, unfortunately, I'm going to have to dispose of it, and then I'm hoping to replace it with a rug that I can clean in my washing machine. So please let me know, those of you who are more savvy than I am with sustainable living and eco-friendly living, what are the best ways to do area rugs in your home? Because I'm going to be moving this art table down into the basement, and it's going to become a kids eating table that we will periodically bring upstairs when we have friends over with lots of kids. And this artwork is going to be, or not artwork, art supplies is going to be moved to a different location of my house. I'm doing a collab with my friend Danny Berger from Diaries of DIY Danny, and she is doing something, I actually don't know what she's doing, but I trust her with my design life, and she's doing something up for the boys. And so you guys want to stay tuned for that video. I'm not sure exactly when it's coming out, but soon. It's coming out soon. So I took the time to go through with the boys and go through our markers and pencil crayons and crayons and see which work and which ones need to be disposed of. It was a good time to talk about why it's important to put the lids on our markers when the boys could see how many of their markers weren't working anymore. And a lot of you have had questions on how I get all this cleaning done having 3 kids. And often, what I do is get the boys involved. I will give them a task and then I will kind of get things going on my end while they're doing that task. Maybe I'll say to them, I want to see what the biggest tower that you can build with your Lego or something like that. Sometimes I get them involved in the task like this, and then other times I will put a show on for them. I try not to put a show on for hours and hours on end for them because, my kids just turn into whining, crying monsters when they've watched, it like melts their brain when they've watched too much TV. So I try and cycle through getting them involved, giving them a task, that's not a word, task, and distracting them with a show.
But now it looks like acting, like we were fiction in a book. Guess it's the way it goes, and I will never know why you let me go. Look to the left, look to the right, nothing can stop me in the night, like I'm leaving all the bad stuff and trying to remain so strong. I know it's good if I move on. I got it, I gotta go, running to better times. Go, from my emotions. I'll go, running to better times, 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 to better times. I look to the left, look to the right. Nothing can stop me. Nothing can stop me in the night. Look to the left, look to the right. Nothing can stop me in the night, like I am leaving all the bad stuff. Go, running to better times. Go, from my emotions. I'll go, running to better times, 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 to better times.
Springtime is also a great time to go through your kids' toys and ask yourself and your kids whether these are toys that they are still playing with or whether it's time to cycle them out. Something I shared in my home tour video is I like to keep, a couple different batches of toys, and I cycle through them in my home so that the toys seem fresh every couple months. But, a couple times a year, I do like to go through the toys and I will donate some. And this is something I do in phases. So first I do it myself, and I tend to do it when the kids aren't around because I can, have a bit more of a critical eye. And then I will get them involved to make choices on whether they're finished playing with these toys and we want to donate them, or whether we want to just put them in the basement and we'll play with them in a couple months. And one way that helps them to decide, that they're done playing with toys is I can tell them that they can add to their wish list, and we have an ongoing wish list of items and toys that they would like, so that when there's birthdays or whatever, family and ourselves can choose from that list. And it's a good way for the kids to get excited about, other things to come and focus less on the things that are leaving the house. I do think it's important to give the kids some level of autonomy over their toys. Those are their belongings, and I do think it's important to have their consent and their knowledge of and autonomy of the things that they're keeping and the things that they're letting go of. But we also have to remember that they're still developing minds and developing emotional states, and so it's our job to kind of navigate and help curate their ability to decide that sort of thing. And I find getting them excited about the possibility of new things that they would like to play with helps kind of bridge that gap of toys that I know darn well in my adult rational brain they never touch.
Cheers to the memories. Cheers to who used to be. Your friend said that you left me. I'm glad that's what you believe. So all my ladies who got a brother that doesn't treat them right. Put your finger right in his face and tell that man bye-bye. I'm too fly.
So this is day 2 of the cleaning. I am in the new Bali lounge set. Just for you guys who might be interested in it, I am wearing a size medium. I'm 5 foot 9 inches, and right now I'm 144 pounds. And so if you were thinking of getting the Bali lounge set, you know, you can use this as a frame of reference for your own size. I will say it is super duper comfortable. It's similar material to their black lounge set that they had, but I feel like the black lounge set almost had a little bit more of a swimsuit feel to the material, where the t-shirt of this lounge set, it's got like a really buttery soft material, and I absolutely love it. And Cohen would not stop rubbing my legs with those velour pants. And I like the, you know, feminine kind of ruffle detail on the pocket. I just thought I would let you guys know in case you guys were interested. I think I have a coupon that should still be valid. So I think if you use the code L10, it might still be valid and you might still be able to get 10% off. As you saw, I was using the 7th generation wood cleaner. I much prefer it to the Method wood cleaner. I also was trying out a Swedish dishcloth, which is one that is compostable and it's naturally antimicrobial. So I'm giving it a whirl for the wood cleaning. I'll let you guys know what I think about it. But I was trying whether I wanted to change the angle of that side table, which actually is vintage, and it was my dad's, one of the first things he got when he moved to Canada. I ended up just liking it how it was initially. Then I went through Brighton's toys. I put on Instagram that I wanted your suggestions on toys for the 9 to 18-month age group. I find that to be the hardest age group to know what toys to give them that's going to be entertaining and stimulating. So, I just went through the toys that Brighton had. I ended up finding that there was lots of toys in the basement that I had kept from the boys when they were that age that, seems to be sufficing her interest right now. This was a new toy that was sent to me by Skip Hop when I was still pregnant with Brighton. And the woman I was speaking to at Skip Hop said, this is single-handedly the reason why my child learned how to crawl. And because Brighton is still not crawling, I thought I would bring it up and see if she had an interest in it. It's just battery powered, and it goes in that circle, or it also goes in a serpentine. I have this kind of bauble toy from B Toys. I've got these beautiful muslin blankets. I've got one that says New York and one that says London. Guys, what do I do with those? Aside from a keepsake, I would like to still keep them. I kept the London one out. How can I use those blankets? Let me know in the comments below. That popple dinosaur thingamajig that I held up there, that was from Ford when he was Brighton's age. It's from Fisher Price, and all 3 of my kids have absolutely loved it. My kids that are 3 and 5 still play with that thing, so it's definitely a hit. It's annoying, but it's a hit. Because I'm trying to encourage Brighton's ability and learning to crawl, I decided to move that ottoman down to the basement for a little while, just to give her a little bit more space to, practice and work on crawling. And then I know once she starts crawling, she's going to want all the open road. So I'm going to do that. And this is also another great thing to do during the spring deep clean. To get into all those nooks and crannies of your couch. I'm pretty good at flipping my couch cushions, and I'm pretty good at vacuuming my couch cushions. I'm not always great at doing the under the couch cushions, vacuuming in all those nooks and crannies, and so springtime is a really great time to do that. Another great time to rotate the cushions. Again, I'm good at flipping and vacuuming them. I don't often rotate them, and I do tend to sit on the right side of the couch much more than the left side of the couch, and so it's important to rotate those cushions so that they get an even wear. medallion that is now on my fireplace was my grand's. I'm gonna say this without crying, but it's a very British thing to have these horse plates on your fireplace mantle. A lot of fireplaces in England will have, they'll be all decked out all across, but I have one that was on top of my grand's fireplace that's now always going to be on top of mine, so long as the Lord provides me a fireplace. And it's incredibly special to me, as well as the 2 books that are on my fireplace now, and the little wren, because my grandmother was a wren. This is a little clay hand sculpting I did of my grand's cottage. It's also my profile picture on my ceramics Instagram page. Did you guys see my vlog where I share my honest, real struggle with contentment? This is a perfect example. As I was filming this video, my steam mop died, and I was so pissed off because it was like $130. Now, it was from Costco, and so I think I can return it, although I don't have a Costco membership anymore. So you guys let me know in the comments, can I still return it if I don't have a membership? But it wouldn't work, and I was ticked because I was like, oh, I have to go back to my old mop, which I have to stand there and squirt cleaning solution like a sucker, like a peasant. And so up I stormed to get my old mop, came down and realized I actually preferred it. And it's a perfect lesson of what I was talking about in that vlog of contentment, of like, I was in such a consumerism mindset that I was willing to spend $130 on a steam mop, which is great. Hey, if you've got money to burn, I do like the steam mop, it's fine. But this mop works just fine. The only reason why I exchanged it and in my mind upgraded it was because I didn't like my forearm would get sore from, as you can see, I have to use that little trigger to release the solution. But like, what a first world problem. What a thing to decide to spend $130 on a product because my forearm was sore. So it actually was a blessing in disguise that steam mop broke, because it again affirmed to me that message and lesson that I'm still learning on learning to live with contentment over the things and be more mindful of the things that I'm purchasing, or more importantly not purchasing, because I fell back in love with my good old trusty mop. I will have both of them linked in the description box below in case you guys are in the market for a new mop. But this one was much, much cheaper. The steam has its benefits, but anyway, I'll let you decide. This is another example of how I got the boys involved in the cleaning. I was explaining to them how to wipe down the baseboards. To be honest, I just hate doing it. Again, it's one of those things, it's a fairly simple task, but I don't want to, schlep that thing all around my house. And so, I'm going to make my kids do it. And, they found it fun. I called them dust detectives, and their job was to pick a baseboard and get all the dust off the baseboard and show me all their evidence when they were done each baseboard, and they loved it and I loved not doing it. So, you know, win-win. I would love to know, those of you who don't use paper towel to clean windows and mirrors and don't use a flat weave microfiber cloth, what do you use? I always used paper towels, and then I switched to my flat weave microfiber cloth, and I'm trying to find what other options there are potentially out there. The only other thing I had seen was those bamboo unpaper towel, I think it's called, and they're reusable, they're washable up to 25 times per sheet or something like that. But I'm wondering if they leave streaks, because that's one thing that I love about the flat weave microfiber cloth is you don't get streaks on the windows and mirrors. So those of you who have an alternative that isn't a microfiber flat weave and isn't paper towel, can you let me know and let everyone else know in the comments what you use and how you like it and whether or not it leaves streaks.
Got me in a twist to stay alive, but I refuse to see it. Yeah, you can turn me upside down, turn my heart inside out, but I can never give it up. Do it again, just do it again. Sleep is for the dead and love is for the wicked. Play me till I repeat the fate. Yeah, you can turn me upside down.
I also always get lots of questions about the vacuum cleaner that I have, and people seem to marvel at how long the hose is and that it goes in the wall. Everyone's like, where does that go? Where I live, they're fairly common. It's called a central vac system, central vacuuming system. So there's a ductwork that runs through the walls of your house where the vacuum ducting goes, and it goes into a canister in the basement. So depending on how often you vacuum and how much, you know, crap you're vacuuming up, you have to empty the canister much less frequently than a traditional vacuum, for sure. And it's completely allergen reducing because you're not kicking up any kind of levels of dust while you're vacuuming, and then you just empty the canister in the basement. And it's got incredibly strong suction power. It's similar to a Dyson, so I really like it. I think it's, you know, it's an investment. But if you have a house that has central vac, or if you're building a house, it's something that I would definitely consider.
Do it again, just do it again. Give it to me, give it to me. Just do it again. Give it to me, give it to me. Yeah, you can turn me upside down, turn my heart inside out, but I never give up. Yeah, do it again. Sleep is for the dead and love is for the wicked. Play me till I repeat the fate. You can turn me upside down. Do it again, just do it again. Yeah. I belong to you.
I belong to you.
Do just what you want. You're the one I trust, and I always be around when I need some loving, baby. No one else
Yeah,
could let you down.
let you down. Sing all my melodies.
One thing that you'll probably never see in my Clean With Me videos is me cleaning the toilet. I don't know, it just freaks me out. I don't like watching it in other people's Clean With Me videos. I don't want to film it for you guys, so I never film cleaning my toilet. But please trust me that I do. Next, I just took all the things off of my countertop and I sprayed the mirror with my mirror cleaner. I use the Mrs. Meyers mirror and glass cleaner. I do really like it. I do not like the 7th generation one. I find that one streaky AF. I've heard that you can mix half vinegar, half water as your mirror and window cleaner. Let me know if you've tried that and if you find that to be streaky or if you find it to be effective, because I wouldn't mind trying it.
Playing all my melodies.
I also took this time to kind of redecorate the bathroom a little bit. I just found bits and bobs that I had around the house and made another little terrarium to keep in the bathroom. I'm thinking because of the steam that all of those pieces will survive pretty well. By pieces, I mean that one little bit of green moss. That's the only real thing that's in there. Everything else is fake. I mean, it's real sand, real cork, real shell, but they don't need sustenance. You get it. You know what I mean. You're intelligent people. Another great thing to do while you're spring cleaning is to clean all your makeup brushes. So I only use 2 makeup brushes, but it's important to clean them often depending on how often you wear makeup. And so certainly while you're doing a deep spring clean, it's a great time to clean those brushes. I wanted to touch on a few things that are important to do in the springtime that you don't necessarily see in a lot of spring clean with me videos, but they are very important, especially with what's going on with the coronavirus right now. So one thing, if you are a homeowner or a home renter, that you're going to want to do often, I change mine every 3 months, is your furnace filter. This is what filters out all the gunk that you don't want to be breathing in through your ducting, and it's super easy to clean. There is an intake and an output with your furnace, and you'll see the intake then leads into your furnace, and that is where the filter is. It literally just slides out. The only important thing is you have to make sure that that arrow is pointing from the intake, it's pointing towards your furnace. You want the airflow to be going the right way, but look at the difference between those filters, and I change mine often. I change mine every 3 months, but I was told from a heating and air conditioning person that that single-handedly can extend the life of your furnace remarkably. So I do it every 3 months. I have it in a G calendar reminder on my phone. Super simple, not very expensive. Another thing to do in the spring is to open your bib valve for your faucets outside. So if you have any outdoor water faucets that you can use for sprinkler systems, you want to turn those off in the winter time so that your pipes don't freeze. But in the springtime, when you know it's not going to snow again, or at least won't last for very long, you want to turn those on. So lastly, I want to talk about how to properly disinfect non-porous surfaces in your home, which is so important important in the midst of this pandemic that we find ourselves in. As I mentioned previously, it's important that you clean before you disinfect. So you're going to see the first step that I do here is to clean the non-porous surface. Every nook and cranny, turn the light on and off and give it a really good clean. Your disinfecting is not going to work if the surface is not clean. So first I'm going to clean it. Then I'm going to spray it with a disinfectant. You can use just straight up 70 to 90% rubbing alcohol. It doesn't need to be expensive and it doesn't need to be fancy, especially when things are, out of stock right now. So what you'll see is I'm spraying the rubbing alcohol on, it's quite saturated. Then I'm giving it a quick wipe down. Now you need this to air dry, but what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're giving it a quick wet wipe. And the goal is not to dry the surface, the goal is to disperse that rubbing alcohol over every nook and cranny to make sure that you don't leave any microscopic gaps between the rubbing alcohol. And then you have to spray it again so it's nice and wet, and then let that air dry. So that is the proper way to do it according to the CDC and according to Dan, who went to med school. You want to step 1, clean. Step 2, give it a good douse of disinfectant spray. Give it a quick wet wipe. So you're not drying it, you're just dispersing that wetness. Make sure it's still wet, and if it's not, give it another good spray with the disinfectant spray and let it air dry for at least 30 seconds to a minute. You want to repeat this step for all the non-porous surfaces in your home that have high contact. So I've given you some ideas here: light switches, interior handles, door handles, TV remotes, phones, toilet flushers, toilet seats, keyboards and mice, faucets, appliance handles, and that's just the non-porous surfaces. It's also really important to wash sheets and towels and stuffed animals and kids' toys and all of the things that are more porous. And those ones, typically can go in the dishwasher or the washing machine. So I just wanted to cover the non-porous surface because I feel like that's potentially less straightforward for you guys. And that is it for today's Spring Clean With Me video. I hope you found it motivating and inspiring. I hope it gave you the chutzpah to get up and get cleaning today in your home. I also hope that it gave you some things to, reflect on and think about in your own life, especially in the season that we find ourselves in. There is a lot of fear in the world right now with what's going on with the coronavirus. And, some of it is not unfounded. People are dying, and this is a rapidly spreading disease. We're living through basically, the modern Spanish influenza. And so these are some really scary times. And I think there's a lot of panic and a lot of fear happening in the world, and that is something that the enemy just really is praying takes a foothold in all of our hearts. And so I just want to encourage you guys with a Bible passage from John 16:33. It's one I turn to a lot when I'm feeling anxious. I put it in my birth vlog of Cohen's birth. I've told you all of this so that you may have peace in me. Here on earth you will have many trials and sorrows, but take heart, because I have overcome the world. I'm really trying to take this time of self-quarantining to pour into my relationship with others and my relationship with my Creator, and to reflect on how we can all come out of this stronger and more united, because I truly believe that there are only two emotions in the world, love and fear, and that in the end, love will always prevail. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!
And all the smoke is in the back.